When I read today's first reading from the prophet of Jonah, it reminded me of a book that as a kid, my mom tried to get me to read. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's called The Man Who Got Even with God. To be honest, I have to be honest, we're in church, right? I don't think I read the whole book. But what I do remember is that the main character possessed the same type of anger as Jonah. And maybe you've even reached this point as well. Maybe like Jonah, you or I have thought that God wasn't working in a way that we thought was right or fair. In Jonah's case, he's incensed because God didn't carry out the evil that he threatened against the city of Nineveh. And Jonah is doing what we sometimes do, second-guessing God. We do it when we think, like Jonah and others thought, that the people are getting away with something. Some people are getting away with something and they're not paying the price. We get even angry with God when we contrast that to knowing really good people that have all sorts of things that are troubling in their lives. It just doesn't seem fair. They could have financial problems, they could have health problems, or just bad luck. How in the world is that fair? But at the same time, Jonah is honest. Even in his anger, he admits that he knows that God is gracious and merciful, that God is slow to anger and rich in clemency and loath to punish. And still, he struggles. Jonah struggles with the disparity between his will and God's. This sounded awfully familiar to me as I thought about it. And I think in one way or the other, we all wrestle with the justice and mercy of God, even at times as it pertains to our own lives. We might not get to the point that we would rather die than live, like Jonah, but we can get to a place where we struggle to believe in the fairness of God, even becoming very discouraged to the point of despair. And this is where we see God reaching out to Jonah. We can hear God's words to Jonah and us. Have you reason to be angry? Jonah answers without a word by leaving the city. But God follows, and he teaches him about his love through this ordinary plant that provided shade for Jonah. But then when it dies, it makes Jonah even angrier. I think that God uses Jonah's experience just like he can use our own experiences to show us why we need to keep learning over and over again that we can't presume our will for our lives or for others is wiser than the wisdom of God. God makes the point that if Jonah can care so much about the life of a plant that Jonah didn't create or even nourish, just imagine how much God cared for that city of Nineveh, with over 120,000 people that are his children. It's from this teaching that we can be reminded of two important things. First of all, God's our creator, and he is our redeemer. He's the one who knows what's best, both in the short and in the long run in our lives. And it's up to us to trust and to seek to understand even in our ever-changing emotions. Just like in a family, we often seek guidance from the most experienced and the wisest when we're at loose ends. The same is even truer, that we should look to God our Father even when we're angry, to find the peace and the reassurance that it's his ways that lead to our happiness and our salvation. My brothers and sisters, the bottom line is this, that it's okay to be angry with God as long as we keep talking, but more importantly, listening to him. For even in our anger, he will show us the way. He'll untie the knots of our lives, he'll calm our anger, and he'll replace it with a greater love and greater faith that he is leading us and all those we love. May God bless you and your families this holy day.